are back again, Charlie. I hope you are doing amazing. This place is where shea butter is made. It's a very popular place here in Tamale. I came here in 2020 and I'm back again because a lot of you requested that you wanted to see a video of how shea butter is made. I got here so late. It's almost 6 o'clock. I'm super excited. You all are coming along. I spoke to one lady and she said, okay, I'm going to do it for you since I'm late. So let's go. I hope you enjoy watching this video as much as I enjoyed being with you here. So let's go. Let's go, guys. I'm so late today. It's currently 5:42, almost 6 o'clock. So I got here so late, but Auntie Abira is going to take me around. And if you haven't watched my previous video, when I came here I showed the entire process of how shea butter is made. So yeah, I'm here again and I'm late, so let's hope we can get a lot to vlog. If not, I'm going to insert my past videos here. So let's go. The shea butter comes from kernels within the shea tree seed. After the kernel is removed from the seed, it is dried till there's no moisture in the seed. It is roasted and allowed to cool for some few hours. The seed is now grounded into powder here at the mill. This is how it looks like. Then they start the kneading process. The process of mixing is called the kneading process. They then mix the powder with water bit by bit to acquire the perfect texture. So because I'm late, this is what happens. They usually put the fresh, the dried shea into this container and grind it into a paste like this. This is how it looks like. They add a little water so it looks like this. So, yeah, I'm lucky, I'm fortunate. Auntie is here about to make one so that you can all see how it's done. So she has just started the process. After it's grinded into a paste, we are going to start mixing it into the water like this. So she just added a little warm water. So I'm joining her to mix the shea butter. It requires a lot of strength from the upper part. On a normal day, you would have seen a lot of women here, but so this is how it looks like. Wow. So the water she just added is a little warm. Have you guys noticed that the color is changing from dark brown to a little lighter brown? Yeah. So as she keeps mixing it, the color keeps changing. So the color is going to change. The color is going to change till it turns to white, cream, like cream. Then they scoop the cream out. The cream is the oil. So that's it. Like, yeah, they are doing amazing. I really wish I had come here earlier. I would have been able to show you. Like, you see a lot of them working here. The last time I came, the whole place was full of women working, and they've been doing this for a long time. So yeah, it's really interesting to see. When you find yourself in the northern region, make it a point to visit, make it a point to come, show them some love. Do you guys see? So You can see the oil floating on top of the water. So she's going to keep stirring till it turns very cream in color. So what you see on top is the shea butter. And under it is the water. So yeah, that's how it's going. It's going well. I helped her and it's good. I mean, so she's done. So this is how it looks like after 20 minutes of mixing the shea butter with water. The shea. So this is the shea butter. So this is the most difficult part. After this, everything else is quite easy. The butter then rises to the top of the water, just as you've seen here. Then they collect all the butter out and boil to remove excess water. After this process, they now take it back there, boil it. As soon as they boil it, then the oil comes on top. So they pick the oil, and that's just like organic shea butter. So this is one which has already been done. Since I'm late, this is how it looks like. After boiling, this is the final shea butter and is then transferred into the plastic containers or boxes. So this is the end product. This is how the shea butter looks like. So I'm buying this because I'm going by flight. I can't carry the big container. But yeah, she has. This is how, if you want it bagged, she will get it for you. Yeah.
What about this one? The virgin soup. Virgin is plain shea soup. Okay. Plain shea. This has the same basic ingredient but with baobab powder added. Okay. It serves as an antibacterial.
Antibacterial soup.
Yeah. So virgin plain shea butter soup. We have neem soup.
What's neem soup?
Neem. We have neem added to the basic ingredient, shea butter and the coconut oil, or this is moringa soup.
Moringa soup.
It's supposed to be here. Yeah, moringa soup. They're all beauty products. And we have henna.
It's time to go. Mission accomplished here. I have here my backpack. I'm going to rest. It's currently I've spent about 40 minutes here and it's time to go. I'm going to rest and tomorrow leave Tamale to Accra. I hope you found this video helpful. Until next time on my next video, I love you all from Tamale. If you haven't watched the previous video, you can go back to my channel, watch it. I gave the full details of how shea butter is made. So yeah, that's how shea butter is made. I got mine, and yeah, the north is known for organic shea butter. Yeah, like it's handmade, raw from the shea fruit. So yeah, I hope you had a good time watching this video. Until next time, on my next video, I want to say thanks for coming along. So until next time, I love you all. Bye. Look at the beautiful sunset there.
it's important to make the point that unemployment is becoming a national security threat globally. Africa is hard hit, and I would say Ghana, we are even the worst. And it's important to point out that if there's one area that as a country we need to pay much attention to, it should be youth unemployment. It's a serious matter, and all of us must take this very seriously. Research has shown that when there is unemployment in the country, it will lead to a lot of social vices, and we all know the effect. The effect will be that you and I will not be able to sleep comfortable in our houses if people decide that they have to do things to survive. So it is against this backdrop that the government has put in place a lot of policy measures to ensure that we create jobs. When you come to the Youth Employment Agency from 2017 up to date, it's refreshing to know that through collaborations with Ghana Enterprise Agency, Forestry Commission, NEIP, and other institutions, we've created close to 150,000 jobs for young people in this country. In the next 3 weeks, we will be collaborating with the Ghana Health Service to create about 5,000 jobs. We are rolling out a model called Community Health Worker Program. These people will be manning our chiefs compounds in our communities to assist the Ghana Health Service in health delivery. In the next 1 month again, we will be training close to 5,000 artisans. We have set up an artisan directorate in collaboration with TVET, and very soon we'll train 5,000 artisans. This again is something that will help a lot of these young people to be able to have sustainable jobs. I am of the opinion, and a candid opinion, that we have to move away from white-collar jobs to entrepreneurship. For me, it's the shortest way we can deal with this issue of unemployment. Thousands of people are coming out of our universities, and all they are seeking to do is to get offices and put on a very nice necktie and a suit. It's unfortunate in Africa today, and Ghana is not an exception. We are unable to meet this demand. And that is why entrepreneurship, in my candid opinion, is the shortest way to go. And we at Youth Employment Agency, after a careful study of our model, realized that we have to move on that tangent. And that is why we established the Artisan Directorate. They have the YEA Job Center. I'm told by the director that since it's establishing up to date, close to 400 people have gotten very good jobs. We'll be able to link the job seekers and the employers. We've also organized quite a number of job fairs. I'm sure that is why you want to collaborate with us. One in Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, Kumasi, and also in Koforidua. And we will bring our experience to bear. We will support you in whatever way, because what you are doing today and what you want to do, in my candid opinion, you are going to help not just the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations, but you are going to also uplift the status of the Youth Employment Agency. And that is why we are committed to supporting you to realize this dream of organizing these 3 or 4 job fairs that we want to do. It is our hope that the Labor Department, the Ministry, GIZ, and all the collaborators, all of us will work together to ensure that this job fair that we are about to organize becomes very successful.
According to the Ghana Statistical Service in 2021, close to a third of the population between 15 and 24 were unemployed. At the same time, climate change confronts all of us with the need to adjust our way of going about things, also economically. Hence, greening the economy will be key to be able to sustain our future. A green economy needs a labor force with green skills. Employers need skillful personnel that incorporate an entrepreneurial and professional spirit. Hence, GIZ Ghana, through its Ghanaian German Center for Jobs, Migration and Reintegration, GGC for short, working on behalf of the German government, is once again pleased to collaborate with the Ghanaian government through the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations, Labor Department, Youth Employment Agency, and the AHK Ghana as well to organize such an all-important event in our calendar. The Ghana Job Fair is actually one of our signature events, supported by the GGC, and it targets young job seekers, entrepreneurs, technical, vocational artisans, amongst others, in Ghana with the aim of helping tackle unemployment and underemployment in the country, contributing to the upskilling of the labor force, and to provide a direct matching platform between job seekers and employers. This year's Ghana Job Fair, the Green Edition, is being organized under the theme Connecting Talents and Opportunities. By this theme, we aim to highlight the main service that the consortium of partners is providing through this event, the immediate and unmediated matching of groomed and trained job seekers with employers, as well as the provision of short trainings and quick skills upgrades to orientate on the needs of the labor market and contribute to the greening of the skills base in the country. We are organizing this year's Ghana Job Fair in 4 locations: Accra, Sunyani concurrently, and then again Kumasi and Tamale concurrently. Actually, it's 5 locations because we have to add the virtual location. In addition to the physical option to engage with us in these 4 cities, there's also the option to join us on the online platform, which makes the Ghana Job Fair 2022 again another hybrid event. I am extremely delighted to announce that this year, for the first time, the Ghana Job Fair is co-financed by the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development and the Government of Ghana through its Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations and its Youth Employment Agency. We are very grateful for this development. Our key expectation is that the Ghana Job Fair would be taken advantage of by the young Ghanaians even more than before, by the students, be they students, recent graduates, national service personnel, or the unemployed in general. It is our hope and expectation that the Ghana Job Fair 2022 would help address some of the challenges that graduates normally face in their job search and to help train them in soft skills to enhance their chances of employment.
It's just on the screen. And I'd like to mention again, September 12th, Monday, midnight, the link will be closed. I don't want to promise anything, but we have some freebies for some early registrants. So please don't be left out. Just try, go up there. Let's share the link with our friends and family so they can register. So the link will be on our Facebook page, Ghanaian German Center, on the GIZ social media handle, and then on the Labor Department Facebook page.
I regard GhanaWeb as my second home. I used to write even for SayItLoud.
Wow.
Yes, I took part in some of those very serious, controversial debates.
I hope you didn't go anonymously.
I think I didn't use my name.
Okay.
Because some of the stuff there is, you know, it's almost disgraceful to be associated with it.
Yes.
But we've toned it down now.
Yeah.
That's very good. But you've done very well. There's nobody I know of importance in politics or business who doesn't use GhanaWeb every now and then.
Yes.
And also I like the idea that you encourage people to express their opinions about what they read. Some other media also use opinions, but they don't encourage letter writing.
Yeah.
And so please keep up and encourage people. Don't just wait. If there is an issue that you want people to talk about, find someone who is competent on that issue and go to the person and let the person, invite the person, he'll be flattered that you have come to him. Then after he has given his opinion, you can generate a discussion of it. The country needs discussion because things are moving very fast and things are difficult. Inflation all over the world, there is hunger here and there. And in this country, we are sitting on one of the worst man-made disasters you can think of, which is Galamsey. That the people of this country, with all their culture and knowledge, will turn River Ankobra into a chocolate-faced river. Brim, where I was reared in Achimabwakwa, you can't drink it. Last weekend I was at Esiakwa. We used to have Supon, Trafo, and Brim. So they now take water from the ground. And even that is not good enough. And so people I saw were drinking sachet water. You know.
Bruno last month net 12 city. Say na for Fraban so monte so ye ne bo na bebi ejina na ejina. Say 14 cities. Nto mo hwen no me bibi mai na say nema ne boye de. Ana beans no so. First ne turn 25. Last month 25 na ye ne so ye ko okrom ne boye ne. Say 30 cities ombo amonto. Wo ka de e bo akire obia na okọ oba wa kasasa onto. Say me nyina boye de nto mo tete so mai. Na eja yenye bi ntoni enso emeton local rice no first no na ye to boto no om de my 3 million ena ye kwa om 4.2 yentimi nto local na kra boye de nche abrofo de ye no to muti local no so na yentimi nto bi na ye se local no so obi andi na abrofo de ye no so ne boye de first no ye to abrofo de boto no 3 million ena ye kwa 3.5 4 million yentimi nto na ya beton. Nso mo mutu loro fam no matutu bibia so nto mo tete loro fam no so na ida yanti ne man so ma enye binto.
Previously on People and Places.
What is the history between these areas, especially from the Gamashi area and then the other parts of the Greater Accra region, the other gangs that are spread across the region?
You know, we are one people. It's only the language. Okay. The name. This is Adu Tukono.
So these are names of family houses?
Family houses and shrine houses. Every Gan person has a family house in this Gamashi area.
We pick up from this episode from where we left off in the last episode with Numo Blafo III. We take a sit down with him even as he shares the story of the Gamashi people of Accra.
It's interesting, and I know this question came up some years ago when I worked with you. The question about traveling outside the shores of Ghana. How do you handle such a thing when you have to travel outside? Do you still go the same way, or there are certain rituals that you can pass through to be able to allow you to maybe just get into the shape of the other environments that you go into?
That would be especially when I'm going to, say, the cold regions, where definitely I will have to put on some footwear. So those, for that matter, there will be some rituals that will be performed for me to be able to put on some footwear. But immediately I return, the rituals will have to be performed to reverse, so that I'll come back to my normality.
Interesting.
So we can enter the house.
And now, let's learn something interesting about Ghana. That's all for this week on Facts About Ghana.
Welcome back from the break. This is still People and Places here on GhanaWeb TV. We're still with Numo Blafo the third. Numo, we're just from the shrine. We saw a lot of things. You had to do a number of rituals. Can you take us through all of those things up to the point where you even had to feed? Is it the gods? Tell us about all of those things.
Okay. You know, what you saw there are not gods, but they stand for a particular deity. But that is not the deity. If somebody say we are worshiping stones and wood or whatever, carving image, no. It is just a representation of what we have in mind. So, for example, as you are here, what you see here is not a deity.
Okay.
But then it is a representation of what we see as, or what we believe as a protector for this house. Now, this brings me, because this is an issue that I'm dealing with. Because if you look at the beginning of the construction of the pyramids, they started with this round pyramids. Then it migrated into the pyramid that we know with the square base and the pointed top. And then at the end of it, they created, or they constructed this, the Sphinx.
Yes.
And if you look at where the Sphinx is standing and then why they put it there, it was to guide or to protect the valley of the pyramids or the valley of the kings. Now, I'm drawing attention to the pyramids, the Ga people, not only the Ga people, but the Ga and the Ewes, because it's like we have something in common. Now, if you go to every community, most of every communities, before you enter, you see what they call the legba.
Yes, the legba.
Which is similar to the Sphinx. Now, if you come to, there is a place at La called Numochana. If you see there, you will see the square-based pyramid is standing there.
Okay.
And then when you come here, you see most
of the round shapes.
Okay. And the one who actually constructed the round-shaped pyramid is called Amon. Or Amon, or whatever name, the way they mention, but the name is Amon. And Amon is a slang name. A slang Josh.
Okay.
Amon Koti.
Yes.
Yes. So I am trying, actually it's a book I'm dealing with now, to link this and then find out whether it is true, what I'm thinking. It is true that we people are involved, or we constructed the pyramids and the Ewes. Because one thing too that I come to realize is that, or I came to across in my research, is that we the Ghans are from Kush. That is where we migrated from. Kush in Sudan, Egypt, Ethiopia area, Kush.
Okay. So I'm trying to draw that link to know whether or not the inspiration actually came from your people.
And so maybe that is just to remind us of where we are coming from.
Okay.
But not that it is a God we are worshiping, but just to remind us of where we are coming from. Because why do I say that? The one who was said to have led us to this place is called Ayi Kushi. And Ayi Kushi is like Ayi the Kushite.
From Kush?
Or Ayi from Kush.
Okay.
Because, for example, if, as I am now, and I have maybe 3 wives, and all of them, their firstborns are males, I have to give them the same name. If I give Lumwayi Senior, Lumwayi Middle, Lumwayi Junior, but then, because they are all Lumwayi, I have to find something else to identify them. So most of the time, we use where your mom is coming from. So if, for example, the first wife is coming from, say, Akotolante, so I'll say, oh, Lumwayi Akotolante. Then as we know the specific person we are talking about. So if the second is from Abola, the mom is from Abola, we can say, oh, Lumwayi Abola. That means the mom is from Abola. So that, you see, so like Ayi from Kush. That means, that draws or that brings us to the knowing that yes. And then there's history that the Kushites were then rulers of Egypt. So actually, I want to draw that link.
That would be a big revelation if indeed that link is made. That would be some big revelation.
So actually, that is where I am now, to do all, because I'm still finding certain records to actually buttress my point.
But is there enough for you to be able to read about or get to help you with this research?
That is where I am now. Actually, I have so much for the Ga and even our relationship with the other tribes and all that. But then I'm getting less from the Egyptian or the Kush side. But I have the belief, though I have some scanty records, but I know I need to do more research to actually get a concrete evidence to support the points I'm making.
All right. When we were at the shrine, we saw a very beautiful thing. When it was time for all the people at the shrine to partake in the meal that had been prepared, there was a particular order. Is there some significance to why or how that is done? Why was it done that way? And even when there was a point where the drink had to be shared, that was also done in a particular way. Can you help us understand?
Yes, it shows the order of seniority.
Okay.
Yes, because as a Wulomo, we have what we call, say, fighting. Like the brother introduced to you on our way to the Sakumo Choishi. He cannot take before me. And then he too, an ordinary person or Chami cannot take before him. Before the ordinary people.
So it's just a hierarchy thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then if you see it, the way they share the drinks too, after they gave the Sakumo rum, then they came to me before the other Wulomo, and then there is a chief there, they served him, and then the other people. So that's the hierarchy we have.
Very interesting. We're going to be done shortly, but I just want us to round this up with the whole issue about the Ghan people. There's a big conversation about the Ghan people and their attachment to just their home. We've heard stories like that. People will say Ghan people don't like to travel. Is this something that you think is true?
It's not true.
And why would even people think of things like that or say things like that? Is there a reason that it has become known that the Ghans don't like to move away from home?
It's not true. I always say that, you see, you find the same attitude that you are seeing here wherever you go in indigenous communities. Because it's not only Ghan people who have a community. You go to the Fanti area, they also have their indigenous communities where you see typical Fanti people and Fanti attitude. You go to, in fact, wherever you go, because after all, I've had the opportunity to travel to say Nigeria, and you go to certain communities where they are the indigenous people, it's like they also, that is where they are, and that is their, you know, their
some attachment.
They have attachment to those places, and it's everywhere. Because when I was spinning, I'm high to different places in Ghana here, and any community you go, you find the same attitude there. Because you see, this is home. After all, when he moves from say 10 meters, that's the father's house, 10 meters away from the mother's place. So if this place is not okay or is finding something difficult, you can just move just 10 minutes, few steps, you will find whatever he's looking for. So the person is comfortable. That's his comfort zone. You understand? But there are Ghanaians who have traveled. It will surprise you that, in fact, there is one MP or aspirant MP from the north, I think Felicia Nati or something, who made some statement about these COVID money issues. Felicia Tete or something. You wonder, a Nodna, where is she coming from with the Tete? Nordness don't name Tetes.
At least not for the Nordness. Those from the coastals,
yes,
the Ewe side, the Gas side.
Okay. So you can see that it's a Ghana who has gone there and then have to, and there are a lot of them there who are Ghana people, or even Dangmis, a lot. So now let me just bring you to popular people we know. Do you know that Freddie Blay is called Ama? Ama. And then we have Amabua, who was former, I think, energy minister or something. The name Ama, where is it coming from? It's a Ghanaian.
Oh, but they are not from.
But they are not Ghans.
They are not Ghans.
But they might be Ghans. But maybe they were born there. They've lived there throughout their lives, so they've become, natives of those places. But the name Ama, because when we name Ayi, the following name is Ama. And it's only names that have those names. Ama, Aya, Ayikwe, and all those names. You see. So if they say Ghans don't travel, for me, I don't believe, because my mother's house like this, I know a lot of people who have traveled and they've even remained there, they are not even coming. A lot. And even all this area. Because you see, there was a point when they were saying that if, for example, chieftaincy issue, and maybe it is coming to this house, nobody knows whose son it will fall on. And they attribute the chieftaincy issue to fetish or paganism or whatever. And everybody wants to be seen as a Christian. So they don't even want to have anything to do with it. They can even borrow money and send their children outside. And some of those people have gone, and for how many years now? They've not returned. Now some of them are returning and they are causing problems. They've gone, they've worked all their lives over there, they've gotten money, and now they've realized that they are entitled to the stool. Because if you look at something that has happened in Gamashi, for example, this issue of Gamanche, it's not about anything. It's about people who have been, how do I say it? Away for long, made their money. And now because they feel they are also near to the stool, or they are entitled to, or they can assume the stool or assume their position, they use all the money and whatever they have to fight, and then that is what is creating or has created this Gamanche issue for us till today. Because if after Mugin's burial there was cool heads, or there were cool heads to have seen what to be done it properly, we wouldn't be where we are.
Well, I believe that there is even more to have learned. Hear about the Ghan people, but we appreciate that you've taken time to share some of the stories about your people, and also you have been really kind telling us about the work you do and all the significance, trying to clear out some of the perceptions that people have about the traditional priests and then what they do. So thank you very much for agreeing to speak to us, and thank you for sharing with us.
So let me say I appreciate your coming and then assisting us to project whatever we have that people have negative perceptions about it. Because it's just recently that I can see people are getting interested in the culture and traditions of the people whom they live among, and I think this will also let people know, those outside know, that whatever we do here is not something that we should, take ourselves away from, because it's our heritage. It's our heritage. And I can also say on authority that we have a lot of people with problems because they have forsaken their houses. Meanwhile, it was from that house that you were trained, that you were looked after to become what you are today. But you are saying that what is in the house you don't like, but you want the house. You want the properties that what were used for to acquire those properties. You want those properties, but you don't want what was used to acquire Manyabla, what was used to acquire those properties. And I can say on authority that this is where a lot of people have challenges. So the earlier we begin to retrace our steps back to our roots, the better for all of us.
No, we're also grateful for the opportunity. Thank you very much. Well, so that's been our edition here on People and Places here on GhanaWeb TV with me, Eche Atisu. We've learned some great history about the Ghan people and of course about their traditional priests, the Wolomers. So thank you once again for joining us. Remember, there is news for you when you log on to www.ghanaweb.com. As always, be kind to one another.
I regard GhanaWeb as my second home. I used to write even for SayItLoud.
Wow.
Yes, I took part in some of those very serious, controversial debates.
I hope you didn't go anonymously.
I think I didn't use my name.
Okay.
Because some of the stuff there is, it's almost disgraceful to be associated with it.
Yes.
But we've toned it down now.
Yeah.
That's very good. But you've done very well. There's nobody I know of importance in politics or business who doesn't use GhanaWeb every now and then.
Yes.
And also I like the idea that you encourage people to express their opinions about what they read. Some other media also use opinions, but they don't encourage letter writing.
Yeah.
And so please keep up and encourage people. Don't just wait. If there is an issue that you want people to talk about, find someone who is competent on that issue and go to the person and let the person, invite the person. You'll be flattered that you have come to him. Then after he has given his opinion, you can generate a discussion of it. The country needs discussion because things are moving very fast and things are difficult. Inflation all over the world, there is hunger here and there. And in this country, we are sitting on one of the worst man-made disasters you can think of, which is Galamsey.
Yeah.
That the people of this country, with all their culture and knowledge, will turn River Ankobra into a chocolate-faced river. Brim, where I was reared in Achimabakwa, you can't drink it. Last weekend I was at Esekwa. We used to have Supon, Trafo, and Brim. They now take water from the ground. And even that is not good enough. And so people I saw were drinking sachet water. You know.
Bruno last month net 12 city. Say na for fraban so monte so ye ne bo na bebi ejina na ejina. Say 14 cities. Nti omo hwe no me bibi mai na say ne ma ne boye de. Ana beans no so. First ne turn 25. Last month 25 na ye ne so ye ko okrom ne boye de. Say 30 cities. Ombo amonto. Wo ka de e bo kire obi na okọ. Oba ma akasa sa onto. Say me nyina boye de. Nti omo tete so mai. Na eja ye bi ntoni enso emeton. Local rice no first no na ye toboto no. Omo de mai 3 million. Ene ye kwa omo 4.2 yentiminto. Local na kra boye de nche abrofo de ye no. To omo ti local no so. Na yentiminto bi. Na ye say local no so obi endi. Na abrofo de ye no so ne boye de. First no ye to abrofo de boto no 3 million. Ene ye kwa 3.5. 4 million yentiminto na ya beton. Nti omo to loro fam no matoto bibia so nti omo tete loro fam no so na eja yanti ne man so ma enye binto.
With the kind of journalism we are practicing now, I have heard from a number of journalists who are saying, well, why do you complain about the kind of content that we have? Because we need to sell. And if you look at the UK and other places like the US, we have a lot of the media focusing on the personal lives of people and following people about, talk about the adulterous issues and those things because they sell. Do you think we should be at that level at this time?
No, the point is we are lying. If you put on the television on CNN right now, you find fire in California. There is fire also and floods in Kentucky. Here am I sitting in Accra. I know all about it. Why? Because that is the media. They see life in danger and they deploy resources to cover it. They interview the people who should be alleviating the pain of those who are suffering, and so on and so forth. So they are just lying that it's because of lack of interest that they are not covering this story. It's not true. People know that they must drink water. We have a proverb which shows that even animals appreciate water. Say, or the chirinyame. When a chicken dips its beak in water and gets water to drink, it raises its head up and says thank you to God. Water is the most important thing in life. Yeah. You know, you can starve yourself for maybe a week. You won't die. There are people who starve themselves for weeks and months. But starve yourself for water for even 48 hours and see what will happen to you. It is absolutely incontestable that what we are doing to ourselves in this country is shamelessly stupid. And what annoys me most is that they allow Chinese people to bring excavators and chamfer machines to turn our rivers upside down. But go to China, go and see the Yangtze River, go and see the Yellow River, and so on. You dare not pollute it. They will shoot you. You know. But here we are, important political personalities boast of making $1 million a day from Galamsey. If he had said that in China, he wouldn't be alive today.
I'm seated with Gifty Boakye, fashion model and beauty queen. She recently made Ghana proud on the world stage at the Mr. Promotional Beauty Contest in Poland. There's more about this beautiful damsel that we are yet to find out. This is Talkatainment on GhanaWeb TV. I am Paula Amabroni. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Talkatainment on GhanaWeb TV. Gifty Boakye.
Yes, Miss
I finally
Paula.
have you. You know, I've been chasing you for Ghana.
I'm so excited to be here. It's finally in the flesh. I'm excited.
It's good to also have you here.
Thank you.
And I see all the things displayed.
Yes.
The Mr. Promotional Influencer 2022 and then Mr. Promotional Ghana.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot going on there.
A whole lot.
I know you've been chasing the crown for long, but one would say that when it comes to beauty pageant, it looks like women who got the heart to wear the crown and embark on such projects. It looks like it's addictive. Can one ever stop chasing the crown?
The thing about pageantry is something that you're born with as far as loving, right? And you realize there's different steps you have to take to get to the crown. So I wouldn't even consider it chasing. It's more so something that's already there for you to go and get. I think that to be a pageant queen, to be a beauty queen in general, takes a lot of encouragement and a lot of strength and perseverance because there's so many other women that want that same crown. I wouldn't consider myself someone that chased the crown. I think that it was a purpose that was put on me, and obviously in the past few years we've done what needed to be done to get there. And so I'm glad to represent and wear the sash in honor of my country.
Great. But then I've seen, well, I was there before with this whole pageantry thing. I tried Miss Ghana, and when my heart was really broken, I was like, this is it, I'm done.
Yeah.
But we've seen some ladies. Maybe they try Miss Malika, it doesn't work. Yeah. They go to Miss Universe, Ghana's Most Beautiful. It goes on and on and on. Sometimes when you see their faces, people wonder, why are you so much into doing this? Can't you try something else? For women who are, you said it's not chasing, they've got a dream, maybe they want to embark on a project. For women who find themselves in that way, what would you say could be the motivation?
Honestly,
because they never stop.
They never stop after lots and lots of disappointment for some, right? Even myself, I've been through that process where it's like you feel like you deserve something, you feel like you deserve the crown, and you obviously work for it, and you don't get it. It happens. There's only one crown, and so many women reaching for it. So for that person, that woman that has been striving in all the different beauty pageants that we have here in Ghana and hasn't had any success, I would say it's obviously on your heart for a reason, and keep going until you can't anymore. There are certain, obviously, requirements and limitations as far as age and things like that. So if you've continued on and you age out, then you know you've given it your all. But I encourage, especially the younger girls, to start early. Learn from whatever they did the year that it did not work out for them. Ask a lot of questions. Get a pageant coach. Pray a lot, because you're going to need it to continue to build your confidence, because it's not easy. You did Miss Ghana, so you know. I
was so disappointed.
You did it one time.
This is for me. And then I went, I was so disappointed. I was like, this heartbreak, I'm not sure I'm going to deal with it. Did you place? So I made it through the original stages.
Okay, which is big, which is also a big, and I think women forget that. In pageantry, it's not always about the crown. It's about the process. It's about who you meet on that journey. It's about connections and introductions that are made throughout the process. I know for me in Poland, I feel like I came, obviously Lali won the overall Miss Supranational crown, but I also feel like I won. One, seeing my sister, a fellow black woman, she was the first black woman to be crowned Miss Supra. That's us winning, right? Me meeting people throughout that whole process in polling, representing Ghana, having people want to come to Ghana and meet all the people here and be introduced, and me being an ambassador for the country is winning. It's winning.
So you should...
I regard GhanaWeb as my second home. I used to write even for SayItLoud.
Wow.
Yes, I took part in some of those very serious, controversial debates.
I hope you didn't go anonymously.
I think I didn't use my name.
Okay.
Because some of the stuff there is, you know, it's almost disgraceful to be associated with it.
Yes.
But we've toned it down now.
Yeah.
That's very good. But you've done very well. There's nobody I know of importance in politics or business who doesn't use GhanaWeb every now and then.
Yes.
And also I like the idea that you encourage people to express their opinions about what they read. Some other media also use opinions, but they don't encourage letter writing.
Yeah.
And so please keep up and encourage people. Don't just wait. If there is an issue that you want people to talk about, find someone who is competent on that issue and go to the person and let the person, invite the person. You'll be flattered that you have come to him. Then after he has given his opinion, you can generate a discussion of it. The country needs discussion because things are moving very fast and things are difficult. There's inflation all over the world, there is hunger here and there. And in this country, we are sitting on one of the worst man-made disasters you can think of, which is Galamsey.
Yeah.
That the people of this country, with all their culture and knowledge, will turn River Ankobra into a chocolate-faced river. Brim, where I was reared in Achimabwakwa, you can't drink it. Last weekend I was at Esiagwa. We used to have Supon, Trafo, and Brim. So they now take water from the ground. And even that is not good enough. And so people I saw were drinking sachet water. You know.
Journalism we are practicing now, I have heard from a number of journalists who are saying, well, why do you complain about the kind of content that we have? Because we need to sell. And if you look at the UK and other places like the US, we have a lot of the media focusing on the personal lives of people and following people about, talk about the adulterous issues and those things because they sell. Do you think we should be at that level at this time?
No, the point is we are lying. If you put on the television on CNN right now, you find fire in California. There is fire also and floods in Kentucky. Here am I sitting in Accra. I know all about it. Why? Because that is the media. They see life in danger and they deploy resources to cover it. They interview the people who should be alleviating the pain of those who are suffering, and so on and so forth. So they are just lying that it's because of lack of interest that they are not covering this story. It's not true. People know that they must drink water. We have a proverb which shows that even animals appreciate water. Say, or the chanyame. When a chicken dips its beak in water and gets water to drink, it raises its head up and says thank you to God. Water is the most important thing in life. You know, you can starve yourself for maybe a week. You won't die. There are people who starve themselves for weeks and months. But starve yourself for water for even 48 hours. And see what will happen to you. It is absolutely incontestable that what we are doing to ourselves in this country is shamelessly stupid. And what annoys me most is that they allow Chinese people to bring excavators and chamfer machines to turn our rivers upside down. But go to China, go and see the Yangtze River, go and see the Yellow River, and so you dare not pollute it. They will shoot you. You know. But here we are, important political personalities boast of making $1 million a day from Galamsey. If he had said that in China, he wouldn't be alive today.
Back again, Charlie. I hope you're doing amazing, guys. This is a happy dance because I'm coming with good news. So guys, it's a rainy morning. I'm at work. I'm currently at work. I just hope nobody comes out from here because I'm at work, and I decided to come and make this short intro for you all. I'm super excited. I'm going somewhere. I'm visiting an African country, and it's fully sponsored. I'm visiting my 13th country, and I'm super excited, guys. The most exciting thing about this trip that I'm super excited is the fact that I'm going to be seeing gorillas. Whoa. I see on TikTok and I see on videos, and I'm like, I have to see this animal. Like, but then most of the places that you would want to see them are super expensive. So I'm super excited that this trip I'm really going to see gorillas. Guys, let me know in the comment section. Take a wild guess. Let me know which African country you think I'm going. This is going to be my 13th country, and yeah, I'm so excited. I'm sure that explains why I'm in yellow today. So guys, in this vlog I'm going to be doing a prep. I usually don't prepare for a trip on YouTube. I'll usually just share my experience on Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram, please do so. Follow me. Say name is Stella Chanelli, and I'm super excited. Yeah, so I'm going to first work on my nails. This is my natural nails. I just had to use what's it called, a gel overlay. This is how it looks like. Yes, so I'm going to change my nails, look fresh. Then I'm going to braid my hair. This is just a wig that I just had to put on. I'm going to braid my hair because on a trip you don't want to be like, you don't want to be touching your hair, and you know what to do to your hair, and then you go and do an activity and then your hair falls off, blah 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 blah. I'm super excited. Yeah, and also guys, I also would want to share with you that on the 16th of September is my birthday, and I'm going to turn 30 years old. And yeah, I remember there was a time that my Stella Chanelli's age was trending on YouTube, and I was like, hey, how many people are asking how old I am? Because probably maybe the way I smile, the way I act, like maybe people I'm sure you all would have thought I'm like 22, 23. Please, I'm turning 30 years soon, and I'd like to give to either the orphanage or do give to the kids on the streets. So if you would like to join me by supporting, kindly support me with these numbers. Stella Chanelli, it's available on Wave. You can send money through Wave. If you want to send me through Western Union to a day on Lemonade app or any of this mobile money platforms. Yes, and if you're in Ghana, to mobile money on the same number. You can also WhatsApp me just to confirm if I'm the one. Yes, I'm the one. So these numbers are available both on WhatsApp, on any. Yes, I'm turning 30 and I want to give to either the kids in the orphanage or kids on the street. So please join me, come support. Let's make this happen for my 30th birthday. The plan is to give more than 30 people.
the sports fund. This sports fund has been a theory for a very long time, and we are pushing it. We're in discussion with cabinet, and very soon we will have a direction so that it will substantiate all that we have. We are talking about specific incentives for corporate organizations that will support sports. We know that there are corporate organizations that have been supporting over the years, but they will need specific support in terms of incentives, which we are negotiating with cabinet, and very soon there will be a direction to that. I will not want to take a lot of your time because I know the discussion would go on, and when the discussion proceeds, we'll be at the backdrop and we'll be listening to it. And at the end of the day, we expect that will be a comprehensive report that will be submitted to us, and we act through the report in terms of the direction of Carter 2022. So I wish to congratulate the organizers for this forum and to thank you very well for making this a possibility. Thank you very much, audience, for also listening to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Alhaji M. Sani Adams is the head of policy coordination, monitoring and evaluation at the Ministry for Youth and Sports. He's sitting in for the Honorable Minister, Mustafa Yusuf. Thank you very much, sir. Would like to acknowledge the presence of a few dignitaries here this morning. DCOP Lydia Donko is the Director General, Police Professional Standards Bureau of the Ghana Police Service. She loves sports and is the chairperson of the Police Ladies FC. Thank you very much for joining us here this morning. Frederick Latte Otu, as Ghana Taekwondo President, is also here with us this morning. Rita Ofe Asari, she's also here with us this morning. Abdul Yati is also joining us here this morning. We have representatives from the National Sports Authority. They are here with us. We also have reps from the Ghana Olympic Committee who have joined us here this morning. We have friends of the media, Jerome Ochi, and we have Graphic, GhanaWeb, Ghanaian Times, CTTV, GTV, GBC, Sports24Ghana.com, Class Media Group, and GhanaSoccerNet.com. We appreciate your presence here this morning. Before we get into the discussion proper, where I would introduce our guest speaker to deliver a paper, it is quite interesting what Ghanaians think about the national team and how much we give them consistently. Bring Back the Love suddenly appeared in football circles, and particularly during the Black Stars games, because Ghanaians had become indifferent towards the senior national team. A cocktail of issues brought us to this point. Key amongst them was Ghana's monumental failure at the 2014 World Cup in Brazil. This left Ghanaians questioning the commitment of the players to the national cause, especially when they held the nation to ransom, demanding payments of appearance fees of $100,000 before playing their final group game against Portugal. Did the players err by demanding what was due them? Was it their fault that they had been pampered over the years by paying huge appearance fees? Was it their fault that they also demanded what was due them because in previous World Cups, their teammates also received same? When did Ghanaians realize the payment of appearance fees defeated the spirit of patriotism and the national service call on Black Stars players? Were Ghanaians only angry because government paid $100,000 to players after a disappointing World Cup? Because in previous World Cups, $50,000 and $75,000 appearance fees were paid to the Black Stars players. What went wrong in 2014? Another World Cup is on the horizon, and the phrase, "we are not in normal times," is on the lips of Ghanaians. And with the nation still reeling from the effects of COVID-19 and the Russia-Ukraine war, how would paying another $100,000 sound in the ears of Ghanaians?
for a country that is seemingly broke. If we all agree the players must be paid for their services to the nation, how much is too much? How much is too little? Can we sustain the payment of huge sums of money to our senior national teams at every major tournament? These thought processes informed our decision to be here this morning to find a solution to the culture of money for motivation for our senior national team. We have assembled a fine team of experts who will be taking us through this particular topic for discussion today. Before I introduce our guest speaker, let's take a look at what happened from 2016 down to 2014. Let's take a trip down memory lane and see how the Black Stars have fared at various World Cups.
The Black Stars of Ghana first appeared at the World Cup.
So before we join the feed, this is the maiden edition of the Esports Summit.
After several attempts, despite being considered.
This is the maiden edition of the Esports Summit, and I would like to say this event is live on ETV Ghana. We're also live on our Facebook pages. We're also live on the GhanaWeb streaming portal. So GhanaWeb is streaming this particular event live. We'd like to say a big thank you to GhanaWeb for joining us. Before we join the feed, let me quickly take you through the profile of our special guest. So, our special guest speaker, is a man of many parts. He's an Akora, a graduate from the University of Ghana with a degree in biochemistry. He later on proceeded to the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration to pursue a program in law. He has 30 years working experience in various managerial roles, and in the field of marketing, he's top of mind when it comes to experts in that industry. He's been the head of marketing at Van FSTC, a marketing manager at Unilever, programs director at Multimedia Broadcasting, general manager for Joy FM, export manager for Maersk Ghana, and he's held various positions in this country across various corporate institutions. He was the managing director of Accra Hearts of Oak, one of the oldest clubs in the world, and has written about 124 newspaper articles and sports documents. He's also been a consultant in strategy, marketing, and business development at the Ghana Football Association. Mr. Neil Armstrong Motagbe is the man we are talking about. Mr. Armstrong. Mr. Armstrong, please join me as you deliver your paper for this summit. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Raymond. I think it took me by surprise because when I was told about the running order, I was told when I'll be speaking, but I'm also a person of faith. There are different faiths, Islam, Christianity. One of the verses of scripture that came to mind when he invited me here, so impromptu, is the Bible says you must be instant in season and out of season. And therefore, we shall proceed. I don't know whether my presentation is ready or I need to take it from my phone. Sometimes technology has a way of misbehaving at the time you expect it to behave. Bema, are you ready? And I should go on, or I should wait for you? All right, it's just fixing the cable. Those who are people of prayer, pray that it will appear. Yes, but this is a very, I believe, relevant conversation we are having ahead of the World Cup. But you find in my presentation that I may make some references to some of the other national teams. I hold a very strong view that, and I listened to the representative of our Honorable Minister, and I think something he said actually provoked a small debate in our small circle here. I'll not talk too much about the debate, but it's a concern that has been shared by many people about the extent to which we spend on our football as compared to the other sporting disciplines. There are various schools of thought. Depending on where you draw the line, you would say a lot more is being spent on the other disciplines than on football and vice versa. But I've been in the media and in this space for a very, very long time. And I'll just say that in terms of the recurring expenditures aside of infrastructure and those other parts, recurring expenditures, definitely. I mean, we'll agree that football takes a chunk of the national cake. And I hear my minister's rep saying yes, and that is a fact. He also spoke about comparative advantage, which is a subject that's also very dear to my heart. That there are so many sporting disciplines that we engage ourselves in as a country. But there certainly will be some sporting disciplines that we have comparative advantage in. And I'm happy that at the policy level, it's something that's being discussed. And the prayer is that beyond it being discussed, an action program will be developed that would get actioned. This thing is skipping. All right, I'll come back there. So, comparative advantage is key. So why football? I see football as being one of Ghana's sources of comparative advantage. That's why we spend so much on football. And it's not to say the other disciplines don't deserve resources. But every nation state would need to define what are their sources of comparative advantage. And that is just a small digression from my presentation, but it's got to be situated in the context that there are sporting disciplines in this country that have brought Ghana's name so high. And many a times, people like us lament why they don't get that level of attention. Football is a team event, okay? And so it takes a lot of resources. But long before Ghana qualified for the World Cup, there was a certain Azuma Nelson. There was a DK Poison. There were these athletes who put our name at the zenith of world sport. Ask yourself what investment is being done in those areas. That's a conversation, I believe, for another day. And it would be great if the ministry and ETV and other media partners here can put together a dialogue on Ghana sports financing. Where are our sources of comparative advantage? Because once we establish those places or those points, it becomes easy to determine what should be spent and what shouldn't be spent. We are talking about bonus structures. We are talking about appearance fees. But look at countries like Jamaica. If you go to any World Athletics event, you will see Jamaica in the sprints. It's a source of comparative advantage. You will see Kenya in the long distance and middle distance. It's a source of comparative advantage. If you go to cricket, you see an India, you see a Pakistan. When it comes to Africa, you see a South Africa, you see a Kenya. Sources of comparative advantage. So the point being made here is that at the level of the ministry, if there is a unit looking at policy, then there's relevance in having a conversation on which sports hold our sources of comparative advantage as a nation. Not every sport would be there. And that doesn't mean the other sports should not be engaged in. But if we want to make a mark on the world stage, we can't continue sending teams to tournaments where we know they are not going to perform. Again, I said it's a conversation for another day. But the comparative advantage that our minister's rep spoke about is what evoked my sharing this small digression to this house. So let's get back to bonus structures of the national teams. I'll give a short historical perspective and then point to a point in our development as a nation where we had a dramatic shift in bonuses. And I'm happy that Ajuman Bedu is here. And I see Abdul, I see Papse, I see quite a number of friends from the media who followed our development as far as the bonus structures of our national teams are concerned. And when it is that we get into the conversation, I'm sure they will share some very, very useful perspectives. I can't claim to know the full history of our bonus structures, but we know what persisted to some extent before what I call the dramatic shift. I speak also to a subject I've titled Equitable Spread. How does it spread across the various national teams? How is it always Black Stars, Black Stars, Black Stars, Black Stars? Where can we situate the Black Stars in our conversation such that, for instance, whatever they bring in could not only be for them alone, but could be for those who can't attract? Because everywhere you have an attractant, and then you have those who consume what the one attracting would support it to consume. We talk about sustainability, and I'll not repeat a few of the things that, sorry, the name again is Alhaji Sani. Yes, I keep saying minister's rep. I don't think it's very polite. So Alhaji Sani, I would reference you as Alhaji Sani. There is another Alhaji Sani I know, though, who was in Accra Hearts of Folk, who is a Hearts of from donations from corporate bodies, and also to some extent the National Kitty. Notable among those corporate bodies who would usually make a donation will be Guinness, quite notable in that enterprise. But these rewards were meager. Motivation was virtually intrinsic, so the pride of playing for Ghana, that was the main motivation. And it still is a motivation, I believe, and the players here would attest to that fact. But if you listen to the lamentations of past national team players, you realize that apart from that intrinsic motivation, there needed to be some pecuniary, some tangible something in the fingers or in the hands. That would be a reward. We can't reward to the highest extent, but at least something that says we appreciate the sacrifices you make for your national teams. And I may speak both Black Stars and other football teams or sports people. So everybody makes a sacrifice. The question is, how do we reward or honor that sacrifice? Do we have the resources to honor this sacrifice? Is it a bottomless pit or is it a finite quantity or amount of money? Up to 2007, 2009, the Liberian national team had never had a sponsor. So how were they being rewarded? And then they got a sponsor, Celcom. We did a FIFA project there and got them $500,000. And the dynamics just changed. So money has a role to play, whilst the intrinsic motivation also has its role to play. But if you listen to our former national team players, especially those who are not part of, let's call it, the post-2005 era, their lives are not to the levels where you expect people who have sweated and bled for this nation should be. It's pathetic. We recently said goodbye to Abu Moro. Pathetic. You know, you can mention so many examples. There are those who say, oh, they didn't live their lives, so you can be judgmental, but we all have our faults. There's no net that takes care of them. And that's why the case for this bonus, I always say there is a case. And beyond making that case is, what next could we do, apart from giving the bonuses? What else could we do for our sports people? How do they manage their lives after the days playing? Because that, for me, is where the challenge is. Is there conversation for putting some of those resources into a place, I don't know what to call it, that helps them with sustainable livelihood after playing, after indulging in the sport? Rather than you put the money in the pocket, he can't use it for anything. He will chill, he will blow time, he will buy cars, and the cars will crash. And then he becomes a pauper. These are the thoughts that engage my mind when I hear of these lamentations. But in 2005, perhaps he was the vice president, I think, at the time, or about that. We got Goldfields Ghana Limited to sponsor the Black Stars for $3 million United States dollars. And that's what I call the dramatic shift, because that's when we started looking at bonuses of the quantums that we heard about, culminating in 2014, money flying to Brazil. You know, and people would speak derogatorily about it, but I make no apologies to say that we didn't start carrying money in planes in 2014. It's been there. The best is to put the money in a diplomatic pouch and it's there. Bonus cash. 220,000 euros, South Africa qualifier. We beat Bafana, they pay cash. How did the money get there? Either it went to the bank with so many charges, or it went in a diplomatic pouch. I'm not saying that it's just, I'm just saying what has happened before. Mr. Foreman is asking Pap, say, how did the money get there? Those of us who know, we know. But the sponsorship changed the dynamic. And the bonuses for the teams increased exponentially. I mean, my friend Larry Kingston will tell you, for example, that there was a donation from Guinness before we played that game in Congo. I think $100 per player. Goldfields entered the fray, $4,000 times 40. That's the dramatic shift. And when you get to that level, it becomes difficult to come down. I mean, you are enjoying something at this level. One generation enjoys it. Another generation comes, why shouldn't they feel like enjoying it? And we don't go back. We always go forward. So 4,000 became 8,000, became 10,000. World Cup 06, thereabouts. World Cup 2010, go higher. 2014, 100,000 United States dollars, and we kissed the money in Brazil. Somebody say, why am I making light of it? The fact of the matter is that the money was kissed. It's a fact. We saw it. But why wouldn't the money be kissed? It was a Photoshop. John Bedu said it was a photo. It was a contrived picture. But if you sweat and bleed the way these boys bleed, and you see that money, you will kiss it. If it's your brother who is playing, and he gets injured and comes home, and you are taking him from one herbalist to another herbalist, from one hospital to another hospital, when you see that bonus, you will kiss it. So let's not judge them. They play. When they are on that field of play, the whole nation stops. And when they win, it's like everybody contributed. Even when we won in South Africa, they were calling us the Black Stars of Africa. Comparative advantage. They didn't say Black Stars of Ghana. They said Black Stars of Africa. Can you quantify the value that performance makes on this nation? There is peace at home. NDC MPP, there is peace. Muslim Christian, there is peace. In the charismatic where there's a fight, there is peace. A home where the man is NDC and the woman is MPP, there is what? Peace. Why? The Black Stars won. They beat Nigeria to qualify for Qatar 2022 against all odds. And everywhere became quiet. That is the power of the national team of Ghana, whether we like it or not. It is a power that we went to Germany in 2006, and the immigration regulations and procedures were relaxed. Why? Because Germany was hosting the World Cup. And you go through the checkpoint, and you're wearing Ghana colors, like Die Hard are wearing the Ghana colors. They say, you from where? I say, from Ghana. They say, Ghana, good team, good team. Pass. They don't even check your bags. That is the power of the national team. It's important that we situate our conversation with this in mind. So much is spent on tourism, and I'm not disrespecting any expenditure on these other areas of our national life. But trust me, sports, it moves nations. And when the sport is as big as football, it controls emotions. All right? Otherwise, why is it that every FA president of this country has met the president of the republic and some others haven't met? Because the politicians know the power of this game called football. They invest in it because they know what it can do or cannot do. They put money behind supporters' unions, hundreds of thousands of United States dollars to South Africa to have our colors in the stands because our national team is playing in the World Cup. It's a source of comparative advantage. So we must spend on it, yes. The question is, while spending on it, how does our spend on it now inure to the rest of the national teams and our sports? So I have a concept I call corporate Ghana Sports, if you look at it as a company, where do we place football? All these things that football does for us as a nation. And that's why when things go wrong, the whole nation is in an uproar. When it goes well, we are all happy. Okay? A sport where the emotions of then maybe about 2010, how many was our population? Perhaps you are the statistician. Now we are 30 million. Eh? So back then we could have been maybe like 21 or 22. 22 million people's emotions, they hinge on a penalty kick against Uruguay. The emotions of a nation, all right, were determined by one penalty kick that hit the crossbar. And up to today, some people will not forgive my friend Azar. That he's Ghana's record goal scorer, matter of fact. And that is the power of our national team. I could take you so many examples of how my going to an African country and just saying I'm from Ghana has opened doors for me. I worked with FIFA for 7 years as a marketing consultant, and we know where we've been. When you mention Ghana, the thing is Black Stars. They don't see anything. They see Black Stars, they see Abedi Pele. You go to the Arab Gulf, they see Mohamed Polo. They will mention names for you. These are Black Stars players. So as we have our conversation on funding, sustainability, I'm happy that we keep these things uppermost in our minds. It's like I'm making a case for Ghana football. But it's beyond Ghana football. It's for every person who wears the national colors, be you in football or anywhere else. You deserve to be looked after. So it's to establish the point that as for their appearance and their bonus, wherever it is, Black Stars, Black Meteors, Black Queens, who actually qualified for the World Cup before the Black Stars, there is a case. And the Black Queens qualified on virtually no reward, a stand to correction. So I summarize this page by saying, yes, intrinsic motivation is important. But with all the things I've described about what football and Ghana sports does for us as a people, there is a case to be made for spending. The question is, how much? We must spread the wealth. The Black Stars enjoy a lot, understandably so and necessarily so. But it's important that we look at the entire scope of our national teams because they end up feeding into the Black Stars. In some countries today, there's equal bonus for male and female. I think United States is one of the clear examples. Others are coming up. I'm not sure we are there yet as a people, but I'm sure it's something that we can aspire to in the long term. But about the fact that every national team deserves an appearance fee, there can be no question. And every national team deserves a bonus, there can be no question. And every athlete of Ghanaian extraction participating in international competition on behalf of Ghana deserves the same treatment. Comes back to where? Policy, Alaji. If that policy is in place, the next thing becomes how do we fund it? And it reduces the debate. And part of that debate I started earlier was the comparative advantage debate, where all federations are called into a conference and say, we don't mean to disrespect any sporting discipline, but the fact of the matter is that as a nation state, we have to define what makes us comparatively at an advantage. So we can go to international tournaments and win medals. People are winning swimming medals. We have a family who have taken up swimming like their personal interest. But what about at the national level? So many water bodies in this country. Name many lakes. Only last, today is when? What's today? Today is Wednesday. Only Sunday I was on the River Fram, one of the tributaries of the Volta. Some young boys were diving. Did you have this deep diving? Yes. And then look at our coastline from Aflao all the way to the Côte d'Ivoire side. We can't put we can't put people into swimming in the Commonwealth Games, Olympic Games, all this water. It's a question that borders on policy. And what have we identified as our source of comparative advantage? Boxing, I've mentioned it earlier. We need to identify these ones. And then the others would also be growing along. Recently, I saw a lighter note. There was some Chaskili tournament going on. Is it Chaskili? You know Chaskili? Chaskili? You know, it's our version of cricket. If you get a number of countries playing Chaskili, it becomes a Commonwealth sport. Others have taken some kind of sport to those places, and they are enjoying. We go and play them. How do we sustain this funding? I hold the view that Black Stars should be used as the cash cow of Ghana football. And the cash cow is a concept derived from the Boston Consulting Group matrix. In that matrix, you've got cash cows, you've got dogs, you've got brands. Okay, it's a way of handling various brands. So let's say Black Stars is our cash cow. That's the one that attracts the money. There are some that they are dogs. They are just eating because they don't attract anything. The one who attracts brings, so that the rest can also enjoy. But usually it's been whatever comes for the Black Stars is for the Black Stars. My suggestion is we should start looking at it that way. If the Black Queens cannot attract sponsorship, why do we leave all the money with the Black Stars? It's a conversation, it's a debate, it's a discussion. But for me, if I look at it as a marketing person, this thing attracts cash. This cannot attract cash between now and the next 5-10 years. How do we use some of that to support? It's done. I work in Unilever. It's done. Key Soap will bring money. They will invest it in Royco. Yes. It's one whole. And corporate bodies should be impressed. We talked about incentives. The incentives must work. And the state, I said earlier, must see football and other targeted sports as a source of national competitive advantage, and not only see them, invest in them. When we see the power of Egyptian club football, the serious investment from the state. As an example, it's about what we see our football and sports being to us as a people. When we see it that way, we will invest in it. And it gives well-being to so many other people. I come to warn me. I've almost finished. To be successful, Ghana has to be strategic and deliberate. So strategic and what? We must intentionally invest in our sports. Intentionally call corporate Ghana. And I think it's been done before. A meeting, I think a breakfast meeting. Corporate Ghana was invited. I think it was at the seat of government, was it? Yes. And presentations were made. We set a certain target. It was for the Black Stars. But can it be done for the rest of our sports? And that's why there's always these Black Stars. I understand Black Stars. It does so much. So yes, it's worth it, but beyond the Black Stars. Strategic and deliberate. Stakeholder engagement key. I've spoken about sustainable funding structure. And by stakeholder engagement, the athletes themselves are part of those stakeholders. Many times we leave them out of the conversation. They are the key actors. Without the footballers, there's nothing. And yet a lot of times, we, the people who wear coat and tie, we go and talk and try to decide for them. And you decide for them without relevantly consulting them. They will hold you to account at the right time, the day before the match. What bonus are we taking to the Africa Cup? If you did there, you went and took decision, they were not there. So stakeholder engagement is key. Sustainable funding structure. I know there's so much pressure on the national incomes, but we need to find a sustainable way. I've talked of deliberate action. Let's talk. We talk plenty in our country, and I make no apologies for saying that. It's a matter of fact. Let's talk more deliberate action. Government and the FA collaborate effectively. No unnecessary quarrels. And who did this, who did that, who is the owner? Yes, national team, bona fide property of the nation state called Ghana. Who manages the national team? The Ghana Football Association. So stakeholders need to engage. When we did Goldfields in 2005, perhaps they will bear me witness. We were working with Honorable Yosafo Mafo and Obi Amoa. Tight. To the extent that the day the sponsorship was announced, Honorable Yosafo Mafo sat in the chair together with Brendan Walker, Managing Director of Goldfields. Kwesi Nyantechi, president at the time. They were all there. There was that collaboration. There was that tight fit. And when we were accounting to Goldfields for whatever was being spent on the national team, we sent accounts to the ministry. Collaboration needed. And on that note, I'd like to thank all of us for taking time to listen to this quiet man share some thoughts on an effective funding model for our national teams. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Neil Armstrong Motagbe. He's a marketing consultant par excellence, and he has vast knowledge when it comes to sports and marketing. Thank you very much for your presentation. Right about now, we'll zoom straight into the panel discussion. And to help us with the panel discussion this morning, I have one of the seasoned sports administrators here in Ghana, an astute sports administrator. He's been part of the Ghana Football Association as an executive committee member until recently, when he decided to move up when he contested to become president of the Ghana Football Association. He was management committee chairman of the Black Stars at the 2006 World Cup and the 2010 World Cup, vice president of the Ghana Football Association under former president Kwesi Nyantakyi. He's a former director of Accra Great Olympics. Mr. Fred Papo is our panelist, and Mr. Fred Papo, please take your seat. Growing up, each time you stayed up to watch an Azuma fight, you would always find this face on TV. He's a senior lecturer at the Ghana Law School and currently serves as the national president of the Boys Brigade. He has done a lot of humanitarian work. He's a vegan broadcast journalist, former chairman of the Ghana Boxing Authority, served as co-vice chairman for the Jamefe Presidential Commission on the 2014 Brazil World Cup debacle. He's currently the legal marketing consultant for the Ghana Boxing Authority. He's a family man blessed with 4 children. Mr. Moses Fuamoinin is a panelist for today. He's a World Cup winner. Won the Under-20 World Cup after converting that crucial penalty kick in the Egypt tournament in 2019. Born in Brekum in the Brongahafo region. Okay. Born in Sekwa in the Brongahafo region. Played for Berlin FC, later signed for Brekum Chelsea, played for Brekum Arsenal, and was part of the Ghana Premier League All-Star team in 2007. He later signed for Kotoko on a season-long loan before he moved abroad. Played for Udinese Calcio and played for Hellas Verona as well. Played for other teams as well, and also made sure he made his mark when it came to the national team level. Played at the under-20 level, played at the under-23 level, and played for the senior national team. This player we are talking about made sure Ghana had smiles on her face in the 2009 FIFA Under-20 World Cup final against Brazil. And everybody remembers him for taking off his shirt after he converted the final kick. Ajiman Bedu now plays for Accra Great Olympics. Mr. Ajiman Bedu is our panelist for today's summit. Mr. Neil Armstrong, you would kindly join us in the seat. Ohene Bampo Brenya is the presenter of Happy Sports, which airs on Happy 98.9 FM from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. every morning. Ohene Bampo Brenya would be our moderator for this session, and he has very important questions for our panelists this morning. Ohene Bampo Brenya, please take your seat. Before we get into the discussion for today, I would like to acknowledge the presence of a few important dignitaries. Mr. Ernest Boateng is the CEO of Global Media Alliance and proudly the brain behind what we are doing here today. Global Media Alliance Broadcasting has Happy FM, ETV Ghana, and the YFM Triangle as part of the GMA brand. Mr. Ernest Boateng is here with us. Thank you very much, sir, for making this happen. Mr. Martin Ankra, Head of Business Development, Global Media Alliance, and Perception Management International. Martin, if you're here, a big thank you for joining us. Timothy Kakari is Director of Broadcasting, GMA BC. Tim, thank you very much for joining us here this afternoon. We would also like to acknowledge our sponsors. We'd like to say a big thank you to Accra City Hotel for hosting us here this afternoon. We also like to say a big thank you to Perception Management International. The lovely screens you see here, kind courtesy Perception Management International. We'd also like to say a big thank you to our media partners, Happy 98.9 FM, ETV Ghana, and YFM, as well as GhanaWeb. Before we begin the discussion, I promised you I was going to play a video. I was going to take you down memory lane. Okay. Then I think right about now, I'll hand over to Ohene Bampo Brenya, if it's here. So we begin the discussion on the topic, national team financing, the bonus and appearance fee structure, and its sustainability. Ohene Bampo Brenya.
Thank you very much. I would also like to thank our host. Advan Mate is the MD of Accra City Hotel. Thank you very much, sir, for making this event possible. And to our panelists, I say thank you very much. To our audience, thank you very much for coming. We are live on ETV Ghana, live on Happy FM, live on our social media platform, and also live on GhanaWeb. So you can join the conversation across the world on our social media platform. My name once again is Ohene Bampo Brenya. And to our panelists, we go straight to the conversation. And I'll start with someone who has been in the thick of affairs before, knows it all, experienced it all, before we even start the whole conversation. I'll go to Fred Papu for him to kickstart the whole conversation. Mr. Fred Papu is also the former Vice President of the Ghana Football Association and also the former Chair of the Black Stars Management Committee. So he's best fit for this conversation. Sir, thank you very much for coming and welcome to this very first edition of eSports Summit.
Thank you very much, and it's obviously my greatest pleasure to be part of this very important forum that you've created. I'm also more humbled to be on a panel with these high-flying sports individuals who portray excellence in all their fields, and as well being a part of this great audience. So I look forward to a very important event. Coming to the topic, I think it's a very important topic. It's an issue that we all have to grapple with, and I believe it's about time we touch on the issue. Definitely, I'm sure some of the recommendations or comments that may be passed here may not be necessarily palatable, but I believe whatever recommendations or anybody espouses will be born out of commitment and the need to see our national teams thrive in the most sustainable way. So that's the angle from which I'm sure we are all going to look at it today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your opening comments. Let me go to senior counsel, senior law lecturer, and also a senior colleague in this noble profession, sports journalism. I call him Brafo Amoni, and he gave me a prophecy whilst I started my morning show on RPFM, and I still play that soundbite up to today. Prophet, senior prophet. Thank you very much for being a part of
Well, I'll give you the prophecy concerning the Black Star scores just before we leave for the World Cup. So remind me. Well, first of all, let me just congratulate your companies that run the television station, and my good friend here. He's made a lot of money, but he's not shared it with me.
Mr. Boateng.
Mr. Boateng, exactly. I used to sit with him and do lots of things together. Let me congratulate you for this forum. And just remind all members present in the media and those of you who are watching us live that the Commission of Inquiry that was established under the Constitution. One of the recommendations that we made was that the recommendations of the Commission, there should be stakeholder meetings held regularly. And that was accepted by the government white paper. So this particular recommendation has the status of law. And I am happy to notice that in a way you have not said you are fulfilling what was recommended, but it is important that the Sports Ministry realizes that there's a mandatory provision in respect of the recommendation of the Commission that such stakeholder engagements take place. So what you are doing, you are fulfilling the recommendations of a Commission of Inquiry established under the Ghanaian Constitution. So congratulations to what you're doing. The other thing I want to do, and I think when we finish, we probably all have to acknowledge and congratulate the Ghana Football Association. But for all the hard work, we wouldn't have been in Qatar, and we probably wouldn't have been having this discussion. So can we hear it for the Ghana Football Association? Let's put our hands together for the FA. I mean, it takes a lot of hard work to get us where we got to, and I particularly want to comment, Papse, you made a lot of mention about him, but he's a huge institutional memory. The qualification didn't just happen with Otto and the other coaches who joined and the new management of the Black Stars. It started when we started the qualification. So I want to congratulate all the other members of the Football Association and the Black Stars Management Committee that have led us to where we are. Those will be my initial comments, and I'm hoping, we've done a lot of talking in Ghana already, and the law is in the book that I'm holding and carrying, and the government white paper. For once, let's implement, and I'm hoping that you as journalists will ensure that whatever decisions and recommendations were made in, the Commission's report and accepted in the white paper would be confirmed. We can't just go on talking, and hopefully the ministry will carry that from here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. A round of applause to him. And I'll move on to Ajiman Bedu, who is a principal actor on the field of play. He's a former member, or still, since he's not retired, he's still a member of the Black Stars. Anytime he's called upon, he would gladly wear the national colours again. Ajiman Bedu, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, and good morning to everyone. I'm very privileged to be here to sit with these dignitaries here and in front of these dignitaries to share my ideas about this World Cup bonuses with the national team. So it will be exciting to hear a lot from these dignitaries and to take note of it before we start the World Cup.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel Ajiman Bedu. Neil Armstrong has done his presentation, and we'll get into the pros and cons of the presentation. So Neil, thank you very much for the presentation. More of an academic paper on the subject matter. What should we expect from you on this panel?
Well, I don't know whether to say a point of interest. It was not only an academic paper. It's an action-oriented paper. Academic papers have a very strong theoretical base.
Yeah.
I tried to draw some history in the presentation, but more importantly, to look at the actions. What do you expect what is to be expected from me on this panel is more of the same, talking towards action. All right? Our council spoke about the fact that there is a government, there's a whole lot of resource was spent throughout that process. White paper published. Go into that white paper and you see so many solid recommendations. The question is, what effect has been given to them in terms of action? And that is the bane of this nation. And I don't make any apologies for it. We talk plenty. It's a matter of fact. And I talk about this passionately, but it's true. How many times must we keep talking about the same thing? I think that as a people, we are not angry enough to take action on the things that we must take action. And I just hope that this forum builds up that positive anger to take us to a place where we have less of these conversations or debates and have a structure and a policy in place that is well structured, well self-sustaining, and then we spend time talking about other problems. That's what you should expect from me on this panel.
Thank you very much, Neil. And I start off with Fred Papo, who has an institutional memory of football and its governance. one may ask, if you're a novice, monitoring from wherever you are, how did we get here in terms of appearance fees and bonuses? Because, as far back as 1996, 97, some would argue that the Blaster was not as, well-resourced as it is today. So what changed the game for the Black Stars, in your own opinion and observation?
Okay, thank you very much. I think as far as my memory will serve me, I believe bonuses to national teams, and like Neil indicated in his presentation, as much as possible in my presentation, sitting there on my contributions, I'll be looking at the national team in a more generic view. I know we are concentrating on the Black Stars, but I believe part of the issue of not concentrating every resource on the Black Stars is for those of us who talk about the game and then watch the game and do everything. When we are talking, we should try as much as possible to have a broader view of the national team. It's a national team, so some of my contributions will also relate to the Black Satellites, sure, the Black Queens, and the rest. As far as I recall, I believe bonuses to all the national teams have been paid fairly regularly, way before we even came into office in 2005, if I may recall. The issue of appearance fees, there again, I believe it started right on the eve of our World Cup campaign in 2006. That was when we qualified to our first World Cup. Obviously, that was a very steep learning experience for almost all of us associated with the team at the time. I recall, quite frankly, there was this evening in Scotland. We had gone to play a match, and the players asked to speak to us. They sought audience with the management for us to discuss. And then we went into the room, and suddenly they mentioned this animal called appearance fees. So we're like, what's appearance? What are they talking about? Apparently, some of the players had playing mates in other national teams, and it was actually the vogue in those teams, and they had telephone conversations. So they confronted us with the issue, which appeared germane to us, because their starting point was that Ghana was going to be given, or had been given, some amount of money by FIFA for qualifying for the World Cup. So they also felt they were entitled to a certain portion of it as they are due. That was the genesis of appearance fees. The actors I don't need to mention, but they are very familiar faces. Now, after quite a lot of discussions, we accepted and said, well, of course, we are just managing the team for the state. So we had to go back to the government and then relay this concern to them. We did, and then the ministry agreed. So we had a very hearty discussion with the boys to agree on the figure. But take note, there was one point I made which I believe we should also consider. The genesis for their request for appearance fee hinged on the fact that the association, or Ghana, was to gain something from FIFA. So they should be given a certain percentage of it. So there are two things: gaining something as a nation, and then they asking for a certain percentage of it. So if not for anything at all at the basic level, if you are going for it, should really talk about appearance fees. That's one point I want to lay on the ground. And then secondly, I think somewhere along the discussion we may come to what quantum or whatever it is. But then it's also, their claim was also that it should be a certain percentage or a certain portion of what we're going to get. So absolutely, it wouldn't make much sense for us to pay more appearance fees than we are getting as a nation for participating in that event. I believe I'm putting the historical perspective in the context, right place, yes, to so that is the origin of appearance fees and bonuses. I haven't dwelt much on the bonuses because it was existing already. But then, going forward, I'm sure we may have to look at certain things or certain factors, even now, around the payment of bonuses and then the payment of appearance fees, in a manner that will all benefit, not just the players or the technical team or management, but as a nation. It's supposed to be an incentive or a motivation for performance. So definitely we'll need to tweak it in a way which will make it very performance-based. And that is an issue. I don't know whether I'm jumping the gun, but for example, if Generation A go to the World Cup or AFCON or whatever it is, and they get, let's say, just as an example, 20,000 as appearance fees, and then they go all the way up to the finals and win, or they even go to the final and lose, but they got 20,000 cedis as appearance fees. Do we seriously believe that another generation goes to the same AFCON or whatever it is, they get eliminated at the prelims? Do we believe it would have been fair to those who went all the way up there and got 20,000 for these same guys who played just 3 matches and got kicked out, causing a lot of embarrassment to almost all of us, including themselves, to also get about the same amount? These are things that should trigger our thinking, so that in the way we should be able to tweak the appearance fee in such a way that the more you progress or the better you perform, it gives you a certain level of increase along the
performance-based reward.
It should be performance-based. Appearance fees. I do not subscribe to a blanket in that the moment you appear at the World Cup, then you get 100,000 cedis. You are eliminated after the third match, whilst the whole nation is crying. Up to now, we are still reeling from the loss or the debacle of in Brazil. Then you would have collected your money and gone. I don't think that is fair, and I'm sure this is something that the players themselves would even understand. Thank you.
Okay, so let me come to someone who spent quite a number of time in investigating or try to understand the event that happened in Brazil 2014 and made some conclusions and some recommendations. Rafo, what's your take on all of this reward structure of a national team and the recommendations you made, and fast forward what we've done naturally over the period after your report came out?
I think, you make a very good point by using the word reward scheme. Let's all get it, there's a distinction between the bonuses, which is, and normally you have the adjective winning bonuses attached to it, because people must win in order to have a bonus. And then there's also something they call qualification bonus. That is the qualification, pursuant to the tournament itself. And then there's the appearance fee, which relates to what FIFA gives. If you look at the pages of our, the report that we presented, we gave a history of FIFA paying appearance fee. It was supposed to be in respect of teams that have qualified and to ensure that they bring quality to the, and the top class players who are coming, because all of them are professionals. And don't forget that all these professionals are contracted to their teams. So for them to leave their clubs and all of that and come to the tournament, you got to pay something for it. 2, FIFA is also benefiting from sponsorship, and Ghana, the teams that qualify are all members of FIFA. So you would suppose that the sponsorship monies around the World Cup, and that's the highest flying tournament the world over. So out of the money, a certain percentage is allocated for teams that have qualified for preparations. I think there's an amount for preparations, and then the appearance fee is different.
So you get 2 million for preparations,
and the rest of it is for just being present for qualifying. All right, and that's proper. One of the things that we discovered was that in doing the analysis, it would seem as if it was only all about, appearance fee. Ghana received 2006, we got 6 million. 2010, we got 11 million. And then 2014, I think, let me just check the statistics. We had 8 million since 2010, and 2014 we had 11 million. All right, we had 11 million because in 2010, I think we got to the quarterfinals, so there were certain additions that were made. All right, now the truth of the matter is, okay, we've appeared, so let's take the money. Really, there's some expenditure that goes to secure our qualification. So one of the things that the Commission came up with is, let's not reckon all of it in terms of, this is what has come to Ghana, so the FA or any particular institution has got a right to share all of it. What we discovered was that the state has invested in all the players, their preparation, training, indeed the data shows that for one single qualifying match for the Black Stars for a World Cup, we spent close to $1 million. That's a lot of money if you look at all the matches that we played in 2006 and 2010 and 2014, you know. So the state pumps in money. So the view is, don't just look at it as money coming in to the FA so they have a right to it. That's the first point that we're going to establish. Two, we also said let's have the broad principles that should govern these monies and the way they are shared. One, you know, players play for their nation. They wear the national colors with pride. So we are incentivizing you, but we want you to play for Ghana not because you're going to receive money, but because you are proud of the shirt. That's one principle. The other principle was this. Look, even the Bible says this. The laborer must earn his keep. So if the boys go and stand on the pitch and they play and they perform, then they've got to be remunerated. So there were two principles that we agreed should be present. And then you've got to combine and weigh them as you go along. I'm sure that as the discussion proceeds, we will look at how we've got to structure the framework, but in the payment. But in terms of, first of all, what is bonus, what is winning bonus, what is qualification bonus, and what is appearance fee, I think what, as a committee, the commission we came up with is what I have set out. In summary, appearance fee comes from FIFA, has to do with haven't qualified. There'll be money also for preparation. Bonuses, winning bonuses have been paid. Osei Kofi tells me about bonuses that were paid long ago, and some of the anecdotes around it is very funny. So we've always paid bonuses to our winning bonuses to our teams. So that has been in existence for a long time. I think the issue in terms of the bonuses and the appearance fee will be the quantum, how we quantify it, and under the conditions under which we pay. I'm sure that as we get into the details, I'll be able to tell you what sort of structures that we put in place and what should influence what we're doing for Qatar 2022. I can just end on this little note. Let's learn the right lessons. That's the only thing I will say. Let us have the policy framework which has been delivered by the Commission's report and agreed, and for which there's a white paper. Let us not reinvent the wheel, so that the principles and the policies that were agreed, let us just implement them as they are, because that is the law. We might tweak it a bit just to help and adjust it to the circumstances, because clearly there's more money now coming in because of appearance, you know, in 2022. But I think the underlying policy framework has not changed, and that is in the Commission's report. I'm hoping that we will not try and change and reinvent the wheel.
All right, thank you very much, Bafo Moeni. In many of the discussions, the players who are involved are left out. But fortunately for us, we have Ajiman Bedu as part of a panel. Ajiman Bedu, do you sometimes get worried when the whole conversation is about you guys are not patriotic enough because you've asked for something you think is due you?
Well, it troubles us a lot because we have the passion for the nation. It's always a privilege to play for the nation, because from where I am coming from, the nation have really helped me to get these opportunities in life. So it's always there. But you know, whoever works needs to be paid. That is a fact. And it's not like we don't have passion and we are so money conscious about everything is about money. No, myself like this, if you see any scar on my body, it's because from the national team.
Not from your club side? National team?
For 15 years, I played football. I got injured at Udinese 2018. All the problems I got during my career in the national team is here. Mostly, all the injuries, I treat myself. No insurance. I don't know if you have it, and I never get any advantage from it. Then yeah. I don't know. But for the injuries I have on my leg, meniscus, the scars you can see from my face, everything, I treat myself. The last injury I got from the African Cup, I went back to Udinese and have a treatment. So if I come, it's a privilege to play for the nation. That is an obvious one. But got injury, go back to the club to have treatment there, and you are telling the player not to go for the money he thinks is good for him, I think it's a bit troublesome. Secondly, like how my big boss said, Fred Pablo said, we communicate a lot to the footballers outside there. And
so you know what's happening.
You know exactly what is happening with the other national teams, and at times it also bring a lot of controversy when it comes to the winning bonus stuff like this. Thirdly, what I can say is mostly we lack communication.
Okay.
It's a key to this kind of problems we are having in the Blasters, because I remember the 2014 Wahala. We started the communication in Slovenia when we went for that friendly game about the bonuses, because we thought, okay, 2010 the bonus was like 50,000, 20 days was 75. So once after 8 years that we have reached this stage, I think the bonus should gone a bit up for us, because so we had a problem there, we couldn't solve it, came back to Ghana, we couldn't, went to Holland for friendly games, we couldn't, in USA for like 2 weeks, we couldn't, and we played our first game before the vice president, Mr. Amisata, may he so rest in peace. Yes, he came there that the cabinet have approved what we are due for, and it was left our 2 games to finish the tournament. So imagine what will happen in camp.
And you had already lost to US by 2-1.
Yes, and we drew with Germany. Yeah, so it was obvious that we may come back home without nothing. At that time, we are footballers. We left everything. It was our races to come home to rest, left our family, go back in a month time, and all these controversies were surrounded around us, and it brings so much problems. So the communication too is a key. So all these things, we need to work as a team, communicate, sit down with the gurus of the national teams, that the captain, the assistant captain, agreed on this bonus before maybe a month or 2 months before the World Cup. Put it on paper, and everybody will agree. After the 2014, gradually things have really changed. You can see there's no hula baloos about our bonuses, which we have learned a lot from it. But I think the FA, the federation, the ministry should sit down with the players before even the World Cup starts. Else, what will happen in 2014? We may see something like that. But we hope that things have really settled now, and they will sit down with the players and sort all these problems. So communication is a key in this factor as well.
I have a follow-up question, but I want to go to Neil and come back to you on that. I'm thinking that the Akamenku injury play in your minds when you were negotiating with authorities when it comes to how much was due you?
Oh, I don't think he played a key.
Was he got injured in Holland?
He got injured in Holland against the.
And he missed the World Cup.
He missed the World Cup. Yes, it wasn't a key. Like how I said, the problem with the bonuses started in Slovenia, and when we had a friendly game against them, and what we were thinking was, okay, 2010 they got this, 2014 the bonus have increased. No, 2006 they got this, 2010 is this, and 2014 things have increased. We communicated to a lot of our colleagues outside, and we see what was going on there. And like how I said at first, mostly you don't have insurance. You need to insure yourself. You know, you need to take all these things into consideration, and from there we decide on what we want. So it's always. The problem is the communication, how to communicate with the boys. They are very, very cool guys. They have passion for the game. We love the country. We know what we have gained from the country. Me, from the under 20, I've seen what I've got from football. So I know all my colleagues are like that. But if you don't communicate very well with us, always it will bring problems. So communication is the key in this factor.
Okay, thank you very much, Ajimambedu. Neil, from the outsider's point of view, what do you think is Ajimambedu has spoken about communication, but from your perspective, what do you think is that bottleneck when it comes to money with the national team and the back and forth?
Well, I think, Ajiman, I mean, he nailed it when he talked about the communication side. And if you make reference to what I also talked about, I talked of stakeholder engagement and the timelessness of that engagement. If you are having a back and forth about bonuses and it drags all the way to actually within or whilst the tournament is going on, you're definitely going to have a struggle. especially and the players sometimes. When I've run a club before, you know, and there are times where you sit with the players and you get the sense that maybe it's from how they've developed. There's a lot of mistrust of officialdom. A player is promised one thing by a management committee member, management of his club or a national team, and it doesn't get paid at the time it's supposed to be paid. And if even it gets paid, it's given to the player with some level of disrespect or disregard for his contribution. So when you have that environment of mistrust and poor communication, it's a recipe for what we observed in 2014. And he did speak about the fact that if we not pick lessons from there to apply them in going forward, and the white paper, like Moses said, is there. It's there in black and white. We are waiting for, we are in what month now? August. August is actually ended. September is tomorrow. So the World Cup starts in November. We are not at the FA, so we can't know what is going on. But the hope is that these lessons that are being shared on this platform will be applied in the conversation with the team ahead of Qatar. It's a fact that before we played Nigeria in those last the double header, many a Ghanaian had given up on this team. Let's not hide it. So maybe even psychologically we're not even ready to be talking about bonuses. And then hey, we play 1-1 goalless draw here. Oh, we are going to Nigeria. We are finished, and we all followed what went on. And then we qualify. So if at the time we're not prepared, even psychologically, there's been enough time from the qualification to now for us to set our house in order, such that we avert any such challenge going forward. Bottleneck, I think I would agree with Ajman when he talks about the communication, and add to that the level of regard we give to our footballers. I talk as an administrator and talk to players. Many times they feel they are not given the level of regard that they deserve, because without them, I'm not an administrator. What am I administering? There's a game that's being played by key actors. But it's for us to respect everybody in that stakeholder mix and ensure that we do things in time and ahead of time and proactively and with a human face. These players are human beings. They've got, look at how he described, it was sad listening to him talking about treating himself after serving his nation. Of course he would ask for the money to help him treat himself. If I was his brother, I'd say, Master, just can't go hospital. It's life. So let's see them as people with feelings. Yes, the nation has its feelings, but the players also have feelings. And they sweat, they bleed, they get limbs broken. They are key stakeholders in this mix. And we need to accept that fact and work with it to ensure that whatever we decide takes in consideration their interest as well as the total national interest. And like what the song, it's a Ghana song, some line from a Ghana song that whatever way the matter will come, it's the mouth with which you speak it. So you need to speak. That means whichever way the matter will come, it's mouth that they used to talk about it.
Well, my brother, I'm not taking your job, but just a quick, insight into some of the things that he, Ajimambidu mentioned. And for a forum of this nature, I think we should be listening more to the players, because at the end of the day, they perform on the field of play. I know, as a matter of fact, lots of the journalists here, and those of you who are watching, will attest to the fact that there were lots of sponsors for the national teams, some of it being insurance companies. So I'm actually wondering, and maybe Freddie can give us some insight, how come, he gets injured and there can't be a call on the sponsorship from the insurance companies? I just want some information on that, because it adds to the mistrust that he talked about and nearly emphasized. Because if we see the sponsorship outdoor, the insurance companies, Komanini, and at the end of the day, I get injured and nothing happens, then all of us are going to say, really? What's happening here? So maybe we need some insights as to the sponsorship packages, and especially for the insurance companies and the other non-monetary insurance bits around it that are supposed to make sure that these players are comfortable when they're injured. Maybe we need some insight from you.
Maybe Uncle Fred will help us in that regard, but I know that when it comes to international football, for instance, clubs will take care of the players and when they get injured on international duty. Bank Fred is the expert on this one, so I would like to hear his take on the injury situation with players.
Yeah, thank you very much. No, when you were very right on that. What usually happens is that we have the situation, especially in Ghana, where most of the players happen to be playing for foreign clubs. So what happens, the moment, they also monitor them. He will tell you, from the day they are released to come to respond to national calls, and the clubs seriously monitor. A player gets an injury, even on the field of play, before you get to the team hotel, the team doctors will be on the phone, trying to assess the situation, and literally, even in most cases, pleading that the player should be released to come back, for them to proceed with the treatment and things like that. It's unfortunate, he not only, but I think a few are falling into certain situations, but I'm sure anytime, once we have the insurance cover, and for most engagements that we go, there's an insurance cover. Maybe they should be schooled through the processes of making any claims or whatever. But the thing is that it is the clubs that usually take the lead in looking after the players, because they have invested quite a lot, millions of dollars in the players, so they will not want to risk the players being catered for by other entities elsewhere who they may not necessarily trust. That's the question to that. But talking on the...
I think Abedi wants to make a quick point on that one.
No. I agreed on what he's saying, and I can witness to that one. That's a fact. But what I'm also asking is, even if the clubs cause the player back to go and have a treatment there, there's not any monetary aspect when it comes to the insurance. Because me, I had an insurance in Italy. When I have menisco 2012 at the African Cup, when I went back, they paid me, but they took care of me. So I'm just asking if even the player goes back, if he can make something small, because in the national team, you know that at times when you get injury there and you go, you don't get any bonus from it.
Okay, I do get your point. It's not something small, because it's your due. Once there's an insurance policy or package covering the player, if you go out there and even the club takes care of you, if there are any benefits that should be due you as per the FA's sponsorship agreement with the insurance company, I believe you should be able to retrieve
so
that.
It's whose responsibility to tell the player that you need to...
That's what I'm coming to. So what I'm saying is that you did make a mention of the fact about communication. So maybe what will need to be righted or corrected now is for details of these kind of things to be made openly clear to the players, even before the event. Then you know that in the event of this and this is what you are entitled to. These are the processes you have to go through.
Yeah.
That also, sorry, Bravo.
Yeah, I'm saying that I was just going to summarize, because that goes to exactly something that we must all take away from here. That part of the support for the Black Stars players for Qatar 22 should not just be appearance fee and all of that. The insurance package that ensures that these boys, when they go and they get injured, will not be catered just by their clubs, but also the sponsors around it will be helpful, and the processes for accessing the insurance, that will be helpful. I think that should be a takeaway from here, that we have all agreed that the Football Association, in looking for sponsorship for the Black Stars for the World Cup, Qatar 2022, there was, breakfast and $25 million, all of that. There were insurance companies that were present. So my suggestion is that the insurance companies that are going to support, tell us how much you're putting in and the process by which these Black Stars players can access it. I am confident that if these players know this, then they're not going to charge the country $100,000, because they know that there's also $20,000 available if they get injured. And all of us will see it, and then the processes for accessing it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bravo. Back to Neil again. Back to Mr. Fred Papu.
Yeah, thank you very much. I believe we are talking about the issue of communication, so that's quite key, and it behoves on every actor or stakeholder to make sure things are transparent and then open and known to everyone. In this particular context, I don't think we should be talking only about the Black Stars when we're talking about insurance, because I believe most of these companies who sign insurance sponsorship for the FA also do so for the other national teams. Sometimes you sadly hear of, especially the ladies, getting injured and then staying out for quite a lot of time without even any remittance or maintenance during the period of injury. So definitely there are improvements that should be done on that score. Now, talking about quantum and negotiation and things like that, I believe there are two key things. Some of my co-panelists have touched on that. One is the timing. The other aspect is the trust. Of course, communication, we've spoken about it. And then representation. Who represents the players? You see, there's a bit of a... there's a bit of a challenge when you're talking about representation, especially...
You're talking about the playing body's leadership.
Exactly, the playing body. From the side of the FA or the other side, it's almost always the FA, the ministry, and then if there's a sponsor around who's very dynamic, maybe the sponsor will be there. But more often than not, it's the FA and then the ministry. At least 2 or 3 that I've been involved in. We had the minister and then the chief director plus the FA leadership meeting about 6 or so of the player leadership. Sometimes there's a bit of a problem because you may not even know which player will be in the squad for the tournament. But then there you are fairly safe to assume some 2 or 3 senior players may be in the squad. So you meet with them, you do the negotiations, you agree. Well, whatever you conclude at that time, you must make the players know that definitely this will be subject to what is available at the national office. You know, so it doesn't mean that if at the meeting stage or the negotiation stage, there's a finality around $60,000 or $40,000 per player, it means definitely that's going to be the case. It could even go to the government and they may increase it. You never know. But at least you make it aware. At such a table, you put all your stakes on the table. That's fine. This is the conclusion. We think this is fair. We are communicating it to the next level, and they will revert to you. That is number 1. Number 2 has to do with the timing is very important, because in normal negotiations, if you don't go into the negotiation at the right time, you will find yourself at the wrong end of the table. For example, if you wait till a day or 2 before the kickoff of the tournament, then you go negotiating with the players, you are definitely going to be in a bad situation. Because if the players say they want 200,000 and you can only afford 100,000, you cannot argue your point, because if they insist that if you don't give us, there's no way we are going to play the match, or there's no way we are going for training. So the timing is very, 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 very key. You must match the timing of the negotiations as to what the players are going to be entitled to make sure that you don't find yourself at the wrong side. Trust is very key. Well, I've not had the experience, at least during our times when there was that much mistrust. I'm sure Ajman Bedu will tell 2010 AFCON in Angola where he was, and even the World Cup before the injury took him out. There was no problem of trust because the players knew the FA at that point and the government or the ministry had been delivering. You know, so whatever you agree upon, fine. But the moment the government side starts reneging on their side of the bargain, these boys will be watching you quite clearly. It will get to a certain point. If you say, okay, we are ready, we'll give you this, we'll pay into your accounts. They don't trust you. So they will insist, we are not accepting anything being paid into our accounts. Let's see the money cash. That was what compelled flights to be commandeered to ferry money across to Brazil and the rest. So timing, trust are quite important. Representation is also key. And then the whole aspect of communication, because when the players' leadership come and meet, they must also go back and communicate with their colleagues, and then let them know that this is what we suggested, this was what was agreed on the table, but it's going to be subjected to the final clearance for the Ministry of Finance or whatever it is. So these are some clear parameters around which you should be doing this kind of work.
But you had a very position. You have to make the players happy and also the purse holder. In this regard, government.
Yes.
Also, how are you able to strike the balance? For the player's perspective, is it player power that drags the whole conversation, or the government's inability to pay that much?
You know, contrary to general perceptions, the players, at least those players I have dealt with, or I dealt with from 2004 that we have to about 2011, were fairly reasonable persons. Actually, very pleasant persons to deal with or to talk to, especially their leadership and the rest, you know. But it was also because they trusted us. They knew whatever the case, we were going to fight for their interest. But the moment that trust breaks down, then of course you'll be exposed, because if the players are throwing the bombs at you and the government is also taking a very transigent position, you will never know what to do. You get me? So you must make sure you nurture a trust, and then that environment is what pervades in the camp. I remember there was one tournament where World Cup 2006, when the issue of bonuses, of course, our dynamic press, they started mentioning the figures in the newspapers and things like that. We got a letter from the German tax authorities in our camp. Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, we got a letter that it has come to their understanding that we were due to earn so and so as appearance or bonuses or whatever it is. So they were just reminding us by their laws that there were some taxes that we had to pay because we were working in Germany for that. So quickly we also thought around it and said, okay, no problem. We spoke with the boys and they agreed that over 90% of that should be paid in Ghana. They were not going to collect it there. There was a trust issue because there are a lot of dynamics around this thing, and the worst you can do is where you are dealing with people who do not trust you. So it's absolutely important that you maintain a high credibility and integrity when you are dealing with the players on this issue.
Rafo, your committee. If you want to talk,
I have a key thing to talk to Mr. Moses and Mr. Papse.
Okay.
One thing about footballers, we are very easygoing. If you know how to relate with us. That's why Mr. Papse was saying his time he never had any problems with us. Imagine if you come to a national team. I'm still insisting on the injury side. Got injured. Go back and send ex-footballer. I play in Italy, so I speak Italian. Steven Appiah speak Italian. Sule speak Italian. Send an ex-footballer who speak Italian to the club to check on the player. What benefit would the player get from it?
It makes a good impression on the player.
Exactly. The club will respect him. Anytime the national team needs him, they will make him available. You didn't have that kind of great relationship with the national team. I remember the national under 23, when we played against Nigeria, we lost 3-1 there, and we came home. We played the game in Kumasi. Most of the professionals, you didn't get them because it's not FIFA sanctioned games. Yeah. I went back, Inkum went back, and they granted him time to come and play the game. Most of the players, they didn't. I went back, sat down with the president of Udinese. I told him that, you know, you people have a good relationship with Ghana. This is a crucial game for us. We went with all our stars and we lost. We can't just leave the team like this. He said, yeah, okay, Ghana, yes, I think you have good relationship. Oh, Stephen Appiah, then he started mentioning the Liberty players they came for. And they have a good relationship with Alex Asante too. And they released me to come and play the game. So mostly if you get injury and he goes back, send somebody to go and look after the player. Just say good morning. Oh, club, the player was with us here. He got injury. So the FA or the government sent me to come and check on the player. It does a lot for the footballers.
Very interesting point.
I'm afraid. Yeah.
Very, very interesting point.
No, yeah. It's a very, very, very interesting point. It's extremely true.
You know, Freddie, not to cut you short, but I do remember when Essien got injured, the former President Kufuor went to visit him in hospital.
London, yeah.
And I think it was fantastic. Exactly. Now, currently, we have Inaki Williams, who's injured. Apart from trolling on the social media, I think it is important that one of the takeaways from here is that let's see how we can find out how he's doing. And if somebody is close to Spain, send a delegation. Let's go and find out how he's doing. I think that will help.
Our own party is also injured.
Yes, that will be fantastic. Yes. And Pate, I think Pate is also injured.
Yeah, Pate is injured.
I think let's do all these things to make sure that the boys feel that they are loved. Thank you.
Uncle Fred, you have the floor.
Yeah, no, I was just going to add a little point. You remember, as a matter of fact, totally forgotten. Just about last year, after one of our qualifying matches on the flight, our coach, Otuado, came to me and then we were chatting. Then they said, oh, Fred, I want to once again thank you so much for being part of the team that came to visit me when I got injured in 2006. Wow. I had totally forgotten. He was telling me how that actually lifted his image amongst his colleagues and the footballing family. And this. So these welfare issues are extremely important. I'm sure the FA would respond to that going forward. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Fred Papo.
So you see, in the long run,
It's about how we handle the key actors.
Sure.
That's the summary of this whole thing. And I said earlier is to see them, and Najima said they are cool, they're easygoing. It's about how we handle them, so that then it doesn't become a big issue later on. And what does it cost? We talk about even flying somebody there. We have embassies in a lot of these countries. Italy, there's an embassy. So it doesn't even need you to send somebody from Ghana. It's the embassies over there. If we see our national team as the eye of the nation, as the flag bearer of the nation, it becomes easy to do these things. But when the perception or the philosophy is not there, you won't see it. So it's a philosophy, it's a paradigm thing. The paradigm that this 11 players stand, all right, as ambassadors of this nation. And so if any of our ambassadors gets injured, we must invest in ensuring that that ambassador feels loved, feels cared for. In the long run, when it comes to talking about things like bonuses, you will remember that when I was hurt, somebody from the embassy came, the ambassador, the consular, or whoever came there to just visit me or placed a phone call. And then it helps. The players are the key actors.
Okay. Well, I know watching your MC, probably we're running out of time. Let me just deal with some specifics. Okay. Recommendations which will be guidelines into what we do